Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab in today's video in which we will be talking about the new Becca Skin Love Weightless Blur Foundation. This is a foundation I picked up in Ulta Beauty and it caught my eye because it is supposed to be blurring but also infused with a Glow Nectar Brightening Complex. And that sounds like things I really love in my foundations. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the application process so that you can see how it is applied. This is not a first impression video. I have worn the foundation a couple of times and I have established my thoughts. So without any other delay, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going in with the Becca Skin Love Weightless Blur Foundation. It's infused with Glow Nectar Brightening Complex. Now, I'm giving this the side eye already because it's not my first time wearing it. The first time I wore it over the Hourglass number 28 primer. And this foundation did not blend into my skin. It sat on the surface in patches. It didn't stick to my nose. I had to take it off. I didn't leave the house wearing it, and it hasn't made very good first impressions on me, so this is sort of its last hurrah. So as you can see, I went in with 2 pumps of the foundation. I picked mine up in the shade Cashmere, which I already know is too light for me, but I can fix that up with bronzer. So let's go ahead and try the foundation. I applied it with a brush already and I realized I don't like that application method, so today we're gonna just go in with a damp sponge. And as you can see, it's definitely too light for me. It's funny because the other day my daughter wore this foundation. I forget what shade she picked up, and she was so happy with it, but she's also 19 years old. Sorry, 19 years old, and she doesn't have the problem skin I do at my age. She also has a different skin type. She's combination oily, and she loved the foundation. It really lasted on her well throughout the day. She was working a pretty long shift at work, and she actually asked me to look at her foundation, and it looked great on her. Like, it really did. So if you're combination oily, maybe this is a type of foundation you might want to look into. I, however, am a dry skin type. Alright, so this is one layer applied, and you can see I'm looking ghostly. I'm going to need to apply more foundation, but I don't know if you can see here on my nose. There are some patches to which the foundation did not adhere. I'm using the Photo Finish Primerizer, which I find is a very unobtrusive primer when I'm testing out foundations. We're going to try one more pump, and I'm going to focus this. I just figured I'd try it one more time on camera because I wasn't sure if I needed to go and exchange it for a deeper shade or just return it, period. But it's still just sitting right on top of my skin. It's a water-based foundation, and then it has a lot of dimethicones. I'm just using my simple human mirror because this thing doesn't lie, so I can take a really close look and see. This foundation just gives my skin a lot of texture where I don't really have that much texture, and it definitely creases into my marionette lines immediately I just put it on. Let me zoom you in so you can take a closer look. So I don't know if you can see that, but it just looks like it's sitting on top of my skin and it doesn't want to blend in. And it also just makes it appear that I have pores everywhere, which typically I just have pores here in my cheek area. It's settling here, settling here. Here it is on my forehead. It doesn't look that bad on my forehead. It feels sticky to the touch, which I don't like, so I'm going to set it with some powder. I don't know, I just think it says it's supposed to be blurring. At this moment, I beg to differ. Alright, so I'm still clearly as pale as can be. I set the foundation with my Too Faced Born This Way powder because it's a very non-cakey powder. I really love that one. It's been in my favorites before. I applied a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape to my eyelids because I want to use it as eyeshadow primer. And I'm using a new concealer under my eyes. But I have to say, to set the foundation, I had to keep blending to try to press it in. It's already creasing. I don't think it's worth it to put so much effort to save your makeup at the very first step. Like, I could imagine if you messed it up with a highlighter or, you know, one of the later steps. But right at the onset, like, my first instinct is just to take it off, which is exactly what I did the first time I tried this foundation. I'm gonna finish the rest of my makeup. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing check-ins because I don't know if I'm gonna leave it on after I'm done. Luckily today I don't have to go anywhere, so I thought it was a good day to try the foundation again. I'll be right back once I finish the rest of my makeup. Alright, so I finished applying my makeup, and I have to say that I like my makeup a lot better now, but before I applied my eyeshadow and I was happy with the way that it turned out, I was really not happy with my complexion products, and I really struggled to finish it off. I know I have the wrong shade. The shade Cashmere ended up being a little bit too light for me, but I was able to make it work with bronzer. I'm conflicted by this foundation. It retails for $44 and you get a very generous amount. You get like 1.23 fluid ounces, which is a little more than you would get in a typical foundation. You don't need a lot to get full coverage on your face. I used about 2.5 pumps of the foundation each time that I used it, and I always had some left over. So it's got a 12-month shelf life, and this foundation claims to be good for all skin types. I'm a dry skin type. My daughter purchased the same foundation. I forget the shade that she picked up, but she loved it and it looked beautiful on her, and it lasted long throughout the day. She's working at Ulta Beauty now, if you can believe it, and she was doing, you know, the stocking, which they do very late into the night. When she came home, her foundation looked beautiful. So it does work on some people. I think foundations are just really, really personal, and I think that this one is just not for me. The first time I wore it, as I told you, I had to take it off completely because I was just not going to leave the house with my foundation looking like that. My skin looked better without it. So why even take that extra step? I feel that it wasn't blurring on me. It created more texture where I don't have any, and it made me really, really unhappy. So today I was experiencing the same thing. I applied the foundation, and as I was blending it, you could see that it wasn't sinking into my skin. It just sort of laid over the surface, and I've tried it with several different primers. Today it was the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, which is basically a moisturizer, and it still wouldn't sink into my skin. I did find the foundation was a little bit thicker, so maybe that could be it, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't blending fully. It's just not a foundation I can get behind, and it's not just the shade, it's definitely the finish. It's supposed to be self-setting. It has a lot of claims, actually. So it's supposed to be medium coverage, that's true. Velvety natural finish, okay. Mimics the look of smooth, healthy skin. No, I mean, my skin is pretty smooth and healthy looking except my under eyes, and it made it look not as good. So it says that it has that glow nectar, blah blah blah, medium buildable coverage, feels weightless and looks natural. No, it didn't. On me, it didn't. Imperfections and pores are camouflaged. No. In my case, they were highlighted. So it says that it's formulated with skin's health in mind, vitamin C, ginger, cold pressed avocado melon extract. The fact that they're trying to infuse skincare in the foundation is nice. I think that Sunday Riley tried to do the same thing without much success. That foundation gets really bad reviews. Now, if I look at the ingredients, it is water-based, which I do prefer, but the first few ingredients are all dimethicones. A lot of dimethicones, actually. I have my skincare routine. I'm not really looking for my makeup to provide skincare, even though it's nice if it does. I really just need my foundation to do what it's supposed to do, and I just struggled so much with my base layer. It's just not a foundation I'm going to keep in my collection. I know I will never reach for it. I have so many foundations that I like so much better for my dry skin. But like I said, if you're a combination, maybe this will work well for you because that's my daughter's skin type, and it looked so beautiful on her. Really, really beautiful. I've tried applying with a brush, with a sponge, with primer, with no primer. I really gave this one a good go, and it didn't work out for me. So that's unfortunate. This one is going to go back to the store. I'm getting a lot better about trying out my makeup products a little bit faster so that I do have the opportunity to take them back. My recommendation with regard to this foundation, if you're curious about it, it comes in 24 shades, so hopefully you can find one that will suit your skin tone. They have a very nice gradient looking at the selections, and the reviews are actually quite good. I'm disappointed that I cannot count myself amongst the positive reviews. There are a lot of Becca products that I really enjoy, like their primers and their skin perfectors, but not this particular foundation. First thing I want to do is zoom you in so that you can take a better look. Okay, here it is on my cheek area. Now, I've been wearing the foundation for a good 5 hours now. This isn't really a check-in, it's just what it looks like. And it looks a lot better on camera than it does in person. It's definitely settled into the lines around my mouth. And it just, I don't know, it just looks a little bit cakier than I prefer. It's a little heavier than I prefer. And so here it is on my forehead. You can take a look there. Honestly, I think all these lights are just doing me a lot of favors. The foundation is just okay. It doesn't feel heavy, it's not uncomfortable, but it looks heavy to me. I was also reading on Sephora that it's supposed to be self-setting. I didn't find it to be self-setting. When I touched it, it felt sticky. Now, I do have to say that it wears better throughout the day as it warms up with your body temperature. It has a tendency to melt a little bit better. I do have to say that. So there you have it. That was my experience with this foundation. Foundations are very, very personal, and this was just not one that I got along with. Thank you so much for watching my review. I hope that you found it helpful. I would be definitely curious to know how you feel about this foundation if you've tried it out and what skin type you are, so that way if someone has a different skin type, then maybe by sharing your experience, it can help them out a little bit. I can only speak to my own personal experience, and then I also alluded to the experience my daughter had. That's everything for this video. Thank you again for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon on my next one. Bye-bye.